if you're suffering with BII symptoms, so breast implant illness symptoms right now, and you're feeling hopeless, there are some things I have realized about this condition that have been an absolute game changer for me. And there's some things, some practices that I've implemented recently that have helped resolve the majority of my issues. So let me start off by saying I had BII symptoms before I had breast implants put in. I had the symptoms during the time that I had breast implants, and symptoms persisted even after I had my breast implants explanted. So there are a list of about 40 symptoms associated with breast implant illness. I'll try and put the list of symptoms up on the screen now. Out of those 40 symptoms, I probably had 10, 15 maybe. So the main symptoms that I had was anxiety, depression, brain fog, memory loss, difficulties concentrating. I had hair loss, my hair was very thin. I also had a couple of rashes and I felt tired all the time and I had bad sleep, I had insomnia. After undergoing my breast explant surgery, which I had in June 2023. I've made 3 other videos about my breast explant surgery on my channel, so check those out. But after having that explant, some of my symptoms resolved quite quickly. I had a ringworm rash in my groin that had been there for a couple of years. That resolved and it has never come back. There was a time a few months ago where there was a slight sign that it was coming back, but it never did. I used to have to put steroid cream in that area to keep it at bay. I have not used steroid cream in that area since I had the operation. The main thing for me was my sleep was a lot better, so I no longer had insomnia. But to be honest, the insomnia that I had, the reason for that insomnia, the trigger, was health anxiety. I was worrying constantly about the breast implants that I had in. So I had the allergen natural textured implants, and they have been banned worldwide for causing a cancer called BIA ALCL, and that is an immune system cancer. Also, side note, if you didn't know already, now all implants have been associated with cancers. So smooth and textured implants have been associated with 3 cancers. I talk about these cancers extensively in the videos that I did that talk about my breast explant journey. So you can see those on my channel. Also, my anxiety was less, so on a day-to-day basis, I was just feeling happier. Finally plucking up the courage after 4 years to get that explant surgery, and that feeling of freedom and that liberation of getting rid of the breast implants. That made me feel so much happier. Also, I don't think this is a sign or a symptom of breast implant illness, but I also had enlarged lymph nodes. I had them all under this right armpit, and I had 1 or 2 on the edge of my implant. And I was quite concerned about those lymph nodes, but within a month of having my explant surgery, all those lymph nodes went down, which was amazing. And again, that just shows that the breast implants, they're causing chronic inflammation, they're constantly irritating the body. So you are going to have reactions like this. So yeah, initially some of my symptoms went away. But what I noticed is after the initial high of getting rid of the breast implants, I came back down and I started to experience low mood again. I started to experience anxiety again. I started to experience hair loss again. And also my insomnia came back because I identified that I then went on to worrying about something else in my life. So the conclusion that I came up with is that the breast explant wasn't the solution to all my problems. And in fact, all my problems are linked to bad mental health. They're linked to long-term anxiety and depression. Let's just get something absolutely crystal clear though. I do not regret my decision to get my breast implants explanted. That is one of the best decisions I have ever made for my long-term mental and physical health. So that was definitely a step in the right direction. It resolved some of my symptoms, but it didn't resolve all of my symptoms. So I still had low mood, I still had bouts of depression, I still had anxiety, I still felt tired all the time. My hair was still thinning. Even though I got rid of the ringworm rash, I'd now developed a rash on this middle knuckle. That still kept coming back. I still had to keep putting steroid cream on that. And also, I was still experiencing insomnia. These symptoms, especially the anxiety, depression, and lack of quality sleep, they were holding me back in life. They were stopping me from thriving. And it came to a point this year in February where I thought, okay, I've made some progress with this stuff. I'm making steps in the right direction by having this breast explant and putting my long term health first. But there's a better way to live than this. I don't want to go through life feeling like this. I don't want anxiety, depression to have this hold over me. There must be a better way to live than this. I am not accepting that this is the norm. I want to thrive in life. So in February this year, I got really serious about wanting to feel better. So what I'm going to talk about in this video is my theory and the reasoning behind why Explant might not be the solution to resolving all your BII symptoms, and also what I've implemented into my life that has actually resolved my BII symptoms considerably. So maybe right now you're suffering with BII symptoms, you've got breast implants, and maybe you can't afford to get them out anytime soon, and you're feeling hopeless that you're having to deal with these symptoms for the next few years. Or maybe you've had a breast explant surgery and, like me, you've discovered, okay, this was a step in the right direction, but it has not resolved these symptoms that I am constantly battling with every single day, and you're feeling really deflated about that. I have got some stuff in this video that I hope is really going to help you. So now I'm going to explain what I've discovered in terms of why breast explant alone might not be the solution to getting rid of your breast implant illness symptoms. So recently I have read this book called The Secret Language of the Body, and it is all about nervous system regulation. I'll put a picture up of the book on the screen. And basically, in this book, the author talks about how the nervous system holds us in 3 different stages. So, the first stage the nervous system holds us in is the social engagement stage. So, this is the good stage to be in. So, I've got my Kindle here with me so I don't forget anything. And then this stage, symptoms of this stage include calmness in connection, feeling settled, groundedness, being curious, being open, feeling compassionate, being mindful and in the present. So in this first stage, you'll benefit from increases in digestion, resistance to infection, immune response, rest and recuperation, health and vitality, the release of oxytocin, and an ability to relate and connect to others. The second stage, if there is a perceived threat in our environment, the nervous system will kick us into the second stage, which is the flight or fight response. In this stage, signs of this stage, you could feel rage, anger, irritation, frustration, panic, fear, anxiety, worry/concern. So in this stage, there'll be an increase in blood pressure, heart rate, adrenaline, oxygen to vital organs, blood clotting, pupil size, defensive responses. If that second stage persists, if that fight or flight stage persists for long enough, your body will then go down into shutdown mode, and that is stage 3. So symptoms of this stage include disassociation, numbness, depression, raised pain threshold, helplessness, shame, shutdown, hopelessness, preparation for death, feeling trapped. So in this final stage, there will be a decrease in the following: heart rate, blood pressure, temperature, facial expressions and eye contact, depth of breath, attunement to human voice, social behavior, sexual responses, immune response. So what the author goes on to explain is the way the nervous system is meant to operate and what it's meant to do for us if it's operating correctly. It is meant to predominantly hold us in that first stage where we feel energized, we feel connected to others, we feel calm and grounded. But what is happening these days, and what I can identify in myself and others, is that in the past, I have constantly been in the second or third stage. So I have constantly, over a long period of time, been in the fight or flight stage or been in the shutdown stage. Because to be honest, for the last 20 years, most days I have been anxious or I've been in the shutdown stage and I've felt depressed and hopeless. But the issue is, over a long period of time, we're not meant to be in that second and third stage. It's not healthy. And what ends up happening if you're in that second and third stage for a long period of time, this is how these symptoms start showing up. So symptoms like chronic pain, chronic fatigue, digestive issues. These are conditions that I identify in society today. People are going to the doctor for more and more, but the doctors don't seem to have a cure for these conditions. Conditions like chronic fatigue, chronic pain, IBS, the doctors don't seem to have a solution for it. Yeah, they can give us pills, but the pills don't seem to get to the root cause of the problem. And from reading this book and understanding this theory of the three stages and the symptoms that you can experience in the three stages, I realized that the symptoms of breast implant illness, they are the same as what this lady is talking about in the fight or flight response and the shutdown response, the second and third stage. Those are exactly the same as the BII symptoms. When I think of myself and I go on these groups on Facebook and I'm reading these ladies that post on there, their description of how they're feeling, I can identify the symptoms in this book. So when I'm reading these posts from these ladies who are describing how terrible they're feeling every day, they are definitely frustrated. They're definitely in panic. They're feeling fearful. They've definitely got anxiety. They're worried and concerned constantly. They're feeling absolutely helpless. Some of them are feeling that bad that they feel like they can't even get out of bed, that they're bedbound. And they're definitely feeling hopeless and trapped. And that is the shutdown stage that this lady describes in her book. So with the breast implants, I think the breast implants, they cause chronic inflammation in our body. And I think they are adding to this whole situation. I think they exacerbate this whole situation. But what the author talks about in this book is how if you're constantly in stage 2 or stage 3, your nervous system is essentially broken, it's dysregulated, and you need to start doing nervous system regulation exercises to fix your nervous system and get it regulated again so it's holding you in that stage 1. So now, hopefully, you can see my reasoning that simply having the breast implants taken out, having this physical object taken out, if your nervous system is already broken, just taking the implants out isn't going to be able to resolve that. And that is why I think when ladies have their implants taken out, when they have the breast explant surgery, that's why it is not the solution to all their symptoms. You have to look at fixing your nervous system. So today, when you look around, it can seem like most people have got depression, most people are anxious, most people are fatigued. Most people have got these pains and rashes. And I feel like we've fallen into this trap of thinking that that's the norm. But that is not the way that we should be living. We should be thriving more on a day-to-day basis, and we cannot accept this quality of living as normal. This year in February, that was really something that I felt strongly about. So I got super serious about committing to feel better because I wasn't accepting this quality of life for the rest of my days. Over the last year, I've been focusing on doing practices daily where the main aim is to calm my mind and body. And I have had really astounding results. So I'm going to talk you through now what my day-to-day routine looks like. So first of all, I implemented journaling. I write one A5 page of journaling every day. So I'll express gratitude, I'll write positive affirmations, I'll talk about my dreams and goals as if I've already achieved them. And if I've got any worries or any issues in my life, I'll write that down on paper. So that's just one A5 page that I do. And that has really helped to rewrite the negative narrative in my mind. So that negative narrative in my mind, believing that narrative every day and letting it play out on repeat like a broken record, that is what I identified was causing my depression and anxiety. Your thoughts are so, so important. What you let play out every day on your mind, what you choose to believe, will literally influence your actions and behaviors, how you relate to others, and it will literally shape your reality. So, journaling was a game changer for me. The second thing that I implemented, and that was within the last 2 months recently, I started doing meditation. So I do a minimum of 20 minutes meditation a day. Sometimes I do 30 minutes, but it's 30 minutes at the most. I also started to implement breath work. So I do 10 minutes of Wim Hof breath work every day. Wim Hof has a breath work video online. It's 10 minutes. It's a guided breath work video. Anyone can access that. So I do that every day, or I go through 3 rounds of my own breath work that I just do by myself. Other things that I've implemented into my routine that are really focused on calming the mind and body. I go to the sauna a couple of times a month. I try and make it a once a week thing, but at a minimum, a couple of times a month. I also expose myself to cold water. So I'll have a 1 minute to 2 minute cold shower a day. Also, sometimes when I go to the sauna, I go into the cold water plunge pools. So I do that as well. And finally, for the most part, I've given up alcohol because I truly believe if you suffer with anxiety and depression, you should not be drinking alcohol, or you should keep it to the bare minimum. And also I try to avoid caffeine because that makes me feel anxious. With the caffeine and alcohol, it can be a tricky one because people love their morning coffee, they love going drinking with friends. But this year I got really serious, like I said, about wanting to feel better. And those were 2 things in my life that I was doing that I knew were adding to my mental health, my depression and anxiety. I knew it was exacerbating that situation. So I cut those out. I saw what happened over a couple of months, if I had positive benefits from doing that. And I did. I did experience positive benefits, and that's why I've kept it all. Out of that handful of practices that I've just described, I'd say my top 3 are the breath work, meditation, and the journaling. So if you're suffering with breast implant illness symptoms, concentrate on those 3 practices. Everyone's got time for this. At a very minimum, do 20 minutes of meditation, then 10 minutes breath work. That's 30 minutes out of your day. Then 1 page of journaling, 1 A5 page. It literally takes me 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you want to write a bit slower. How long's that? That's 35 minutes out your day. And literally, it has helped me so much. Doing these practices daily, consistently, you have to do them daily, by the way, to get the benefits. It has profoundly helped address my BII symptoms. So the anxiety, low mood, insomnia, hair loss, those things have decreased so much. And bear in mind, I've been feeling pretty shitty since the age of 12 when I developed anxiety and depression. And this is the best that I've felt. Not every day is perfect. There's still some symptoms that persist, that crop up, but overall, these things have been a game changer. Yes, I'm glad that I had my breast implants removed. That helped. That was a step in the right direction. But like I said, it didn't cure all my symptoms. But those simple practices, if you do them daily, it has completely transformed my life. Now, anxiety and depression do not rule my life. They do not derail me. I'm so much more confident. I've found my purpose. I feel motivated and driven and more energized and more connected with others and just more peaceful within myself and happier within my body. I don't feel anxious and fearful every day. My social anxiety has decreased as well considerably. I'm not being controlled by fear in my life. Before, I was just so fearful all the time, constantly in a state of panic and worry. Also, my sleep is so much better. Literally, my insomnia, I have not experienced insomnia for months. And that insomnia, that really messed me up because I've noticed if I have a bad night's sleep, it completely messes up my next day. So the next day, I don't want to go to the gym. I'm craving sugary foods. I have low mood. I feel irritable. I can't concentrate. I've got memory loss. I've got brain fog. So sleep is absolutely critical. Also, regarding my hair loss, I no longer need to take biotin tablets. The rash that I had on this middle finger, that is no longer chronic. Like before, it used to be chronically red and swollen. Now I've managed to get that under control, which is really good. However, I will be honest, even though I've implemented these practices and for the most part I've had profound results, there are still some symptoms that persist to a degree. So, number one, tiredness. To be honest, I have never been a high energy person. And sometimes I think just the fact me saying that out loud is that making it my reality, if you know what I mean. But from a young age, I was never like super full of beans or anything like that. I think in recent years, I particularly had low energy because of my depression. Depression can make you feel very lethargic. When I look around, like say when I go to work in the office, it just seems that everyone's tired. So some days I do wish that I had more energy. I do have quite a busy day, so I work full time and I go to the gym for an hour 4 times a week and I do weightlifting and I do really push myself in those sessions. Then I'll get home. I always like cook myself a healthy meal, so I'll be cooking batches of food. I'm cleaning, so I do have a very active lifestyle. I'm not very sedentary. And I just wonder, maybe I'm just tired because I'm busy all the time. Sometimes I do wonder, so I'm vegetarian, and sometimes I do wonder if I ate meat, would that give me more energy? But when I think about when I was younger, I went vegetarian when I was 17. And before that age, I didn't really have loads of energy. Like when I did eat meat, I think my energy was about the same. But bear in mind, I would have had the depression then. So now I think, now for the most part, my depression is 90% resolved. If I ate meat now, would it give me more energy? That's the only thing that I can think of now as a solution to giving me more energy, because I've literally tried everything. Rash on my finger, even though I've mostly got that under control, sometimes it does still flare up. This usually coincides with me having not great sleep or my anxiety levels being a bit raised. I just find it annoying that I only recently developed this rash in the last couple of years and I can't seem to completely get rid of it. I went on holiday in September to Mallorca. I went there for like 6 days. I did notice after that holiday, it didn't come back for about a month. But I think the sun, being in the sun every day, I think that played a big role in that. Also, even though I'm not taking the biotin tablets, so I'm not experiencing a lot of hair loss, but my hair is still thin. So when I was younger, my hair wasn't super thick, but it was definitely a lot thicker than this. And I can remember around the age of 16, my hair all of a sudden, like it was down to my belly button, it looked really nice, it was thicker than this. And all of a sudden it started going thinner and thinner. And I can remember every time the hairdresser came to my house, I just had to have more and more cut off because it had gone really thin and straggly. And since that age, it has never recovered. My hair never recovered. It just remained thin. Around that age is the age when I gave up meat and went pescatarian. And also around that age is when I developed my eating disorder. So sometimes I think, did my hair go thin from the shock of not eating meat anymore? And to be honest, just not eating much food at all. But when I recovered from my eating disorder at the age of 24, I was pescatarian and I did eat a lot of fish. Like I was literally eating a fillet of salmon every single night. And I was eating a lot of dairy as well. I was eating cottage cheese, yogurt, milk. But even then, my hair still didn't go thicker. Now I'm vegetarian. I was vegan, but I've moved on to being vegetarian. So now I eat eggs and dairy. But yeah, my hair, it's just not getting thicker, which is a bit sad. But literally, what can you do? The only thing that I can think of is to eat meat, but I don't know. I really love animals, and I don't. The only meat that I could probably consider eating was chicken. But when I think about eating a chicken, I just don't know if I could do it just because I feel bad for the animals and It just grosses me out eating meat. So I'm going to conclude this video now. If you've had an explant recently and like me, it didn't resolve all your symptoms, I hope this video brings you some hope, because I know there's a lot of ladies out there who are suffering every day with these symptoms and they feel completely overwhelmed and hopeless. So I'm hoping this video can give you a new perspective on the whole breast implant illness situation. What I will say is, with these practices, with the breath work, meditation, journaling, you need to do these practices every single day. You need to be committed to it to see the results that I've seen. Also, you need to experiment and see what works for you. But the main focus is on calming yourself, calm your mind, calm your body. So for you, maybe it's not meditation or journaling, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's Pilates. However, I would say there is something quite spiritual about the meditation and breath work. And like I said, the journaling, that directly focuses on rewiring the narrative in your mind. And I know when I see the ladies on these groups that have got this breast implant illness, they've got these symptoms and they're suffering, that narrative in their mind is panic and it's negative and it's hopelessness. So you need to focus on rewiring and calming your mind. When you focus on calming your mind and body, instead of your mind being full of constant, frantic, negative, catastrophic, hopeless thoughts that you latch onto every single day and it pulls you down into that spiral, instead of your mind being full of that, once you start getting a sense of peace and calmness in your mind and body, there will be space for other thoughts to come through. There will be space for your intuition to come through. Tapping into my intuition has been an absolute game changer. That voice, that intuition, that is a voice and a feeling of complete peace and calmness. And when I tapped into that, when I allowed that to come through, that voice is my rock and it's something I can always rely on. And if I do exactly what that voice tells me, that voice leads me on the right path in life. And when you tap into your intuition and you start doing what it says, and your life starts to become more positive and you feel much better in yourself, instead of feeling lost and hopeless and confused and weary and crazy, you will start to cultivate a sense of strength, and you will get stronger and stronger as you connect to yourself and source within yourself. Final thing that I realized recently that I want to share with you that really helped me, it was a real epiphany for me. I realized I am not broken and I don't need to be fixed. Constantly telling yourself that every day, there's something wrong with me, there's something not right, I'm broken, everyone else is having a great time, look at me. Just that simple thought alone, when we go back to what I said about your thoughts having an impact on your actions and your behaviors and shaping your reality, having that thought that you're broken and you need to be fixed, that alone can have such a negative impact on how you feel on a day-to-day basis. This is not dismissing the fact that you don't feel great right now, but also it's not leaning into and exacerbating the situation that you find yourself in right now. Okay guys, thanks for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe.